Brendan was recently doing I don't know why he was doing this, to be honest. I don't know what his connection with boxing has to do with anything. Mostly, I think most of us will remember Brendan's fight career mostly centering around UFC. Yeah, I know post UFC he did retire and do some color comment, no, some like, I guess hype, pre-fight sort of like commentary stuff when it came to Floyd fighting Mayweather. No, I mean Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather, and some other bits and bobs. But he's mostly known as a UFC MMA guy, not really a boxing guy. So I'm not really too sure why he got roped into doing this particular fight recently. That recently happened. I forgot who fought recently. Don't hold me to it. I'm not the biggest boxing expert, but Brendan was out there. He took his wife, which is nice to see. In previous years gone by, he wouldn't have taken his wife. He would have just gone by himself or gone with the boys or something. So the fact that he took his wife there and didn't just go there by himself to try and fuck some randoms is a good thing. It shows they're in a good place relationship wise. That's not mad at that at all. So he says, what a fight, what a night. Sorry, Ring Magazine Awards. Ring Magazine Awards he went to, and he also went to a fight as well from shooting in New York City. For attention, I did try my shirt on till an hour before the award show. Had to cut the arms off. I guess he's too blank. So this is him and his wife on the red carpet, looking dapper as well. The suit jacket is a little bit mad looking. Don't know why it looks so dirty. The suit jacket looks a bit, I don't know, is that dirt or is that a pattern? Not too sure. Not too sure if the white fleckers on the shirt, I'm not too sure of the white little lines on the blazer, if that's dirt or if that's actually a pattern, some sort of print, I'm not too sure. Is that a pattern or is that dirt or is that a print? I don't know. But I think Slojo looks great. I think that outfit suits Slojo really well. It's a lot more covered up than what she usually is, to be honest. She usually always got her fucking tatters out and a bum out and shit, but I think this does a really good job in terms of giving her a flattering look. I don't think the bag is necessary. I think this is a bit excessive. She didn't need to take this with her. I think it's just a reason to show off you got a Hermes bag. But I don't think the bag was necessary. I think she should have just gone like this. I think she would have been perfectly fine. Another example as to why women have to be a bit careful when it comes to tattoos. I think these little scribbles don't really look that well compared to the dress. They kind of look a bit strange. But yeah, I think she looks decent there. I think they both look decent. I think Brendan's blazer is a bit weird looking, and the tie and the shirt don't really match. The blazer looks like it should be worn with a t-shirt. If that makes any sense. The blazer looks like it should be worn with a t-shirt. Maybe that's what. Yeah, I think the blazer looks a lot more casual than the shirt and the tie does, and the tie also looks like it's something you just bought, off some random site. It doesn't look like that good quality. It looks a bit shit, and I think he kind of went for the Rogan look in it as well in general. But yeah, I don't mind that. Let's see another picture from them on the red carpet. Bruce Buffer, yeah. So I think this would have looked better. It looks better undone. To be fair, it does look better unbuttoned. I'm not gonna lie. I like the Chelsea boots. I think this is a good look with the suit. But I think this would have probably looked better with maybe a nice fitted t-shirt, or maybe just one unbuttoned. It does look way better unbuttoned. Still the tie, look at how crooked that looks. Not really done that great, to be completely honest. But hey, it is what it is. This is him allegedly. He's not presenting an award. He took the picture, or he got his wife to take the picture to make it look like he's presenting an award, but he's not. He was doing some sort of roast or something, so he kind of sold it a little bit. It's a bit cheeky the way he sold it. He made it seem like he was doing a presenting job when it was like he was doing a roast. And I don't think anyone was listening as well. It was a bit of a strange. I think I saw a clip somewhere where he's doing a roast, but no one's really paying attention. So I'm not so sure if he was doing it during the intermission or something. I don't know, but he was there anyway, so it was great. Good look for him in general. He was there. Here's another him with Max Kellerman. Taking the pictures with all the big celebrities, of course, makes him look super famous. Klitschko, not Klitschko, what's his fucking name? I forgot his fucking name. The champion got his fucking name. Please forgive me. This is a really cool picture as well. Mexican heritage. I don't mind this with the wife. Another picture with Max Kellerman. More legend. So yeah, he made it look like he was doing some sort of presenting job, but it was him mostly just doing the roast, if I'm not mistaken. This is a video of him removing the sleeves of the shirt. I don't really know why, to be honest. I guess the shirt didn't fit correctly, I guess. Maybe he tried to, I don't know why he's removing the sleeves of the shirt. I think the shirt didn't fit correctly, I guess. Maybe that's the reason why, but I don't get this whole thing. Or maybe the sleeves on the shirt were too tight. Maybe, I don't know. But I think sometimes the detail of the little white cuffs of your shirt popping up from underneath the sleeve of the blazer. It makes you look pretty decent. But I don't get this. I don't get why this was funny. But hey, he did a good job there. This is another clip. What's this from? This is from where? This is from ringside view of the goat with the goat. What's his name? Who's this guy? Who's this person? Ben-Up Hopkins. Okay, Ben-Up Hopkins. Again, I'm not too familiar when it comes to boxing, so please forgive me. And I think he did a recap of what happened in it on the Schaub show. So let's check out the Schaub show. I think he did a recap of what happened during the Schaub show. Where do I have it? Do I have it somewhere here? Where's the Schaub show? Not that one. Where are you? Where are you?
All right, so the DOJ.
We'll come to that later. Where's the Schaub show? There you go. I think he did a recap of what happened during the Schaub show. Listen, let me put that over here. So let's go back over there. Let's put that here. Bear with me a second here. I know I'm messing things up a bit. I'll do the bare knuckle thing after. So I think there should be a recap of what happened here. Let's see. On the time, no timestamps. Okay, no timestamps. I think he's got a recap there. Let's hear what he has to say. This is Schaub show. Brendan recapping what happened when he went to do the Ring Magazine. What was it? Ring Magazine award show in NYC. Let's actually go on the page. Do you have any footage of the Ring Magazine awards show here on the page? Right. Yeah, they have some footage here. Let me scroll down. Yeah, so there's some footage here of what happened during the Ring Magazine award show. You see some red carpet stuff.
Welcome to the 2025 Ring Awards.
Not only the best boxer in the world, Terrence Crawford, we could never imagine having an award show that looks like the Oscars to recognize boxing.
His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh.
No Brendan in this?
The button officially launched our brand new app and website.
And the winner of the Ring Magazine Female Fight of the Year 2025 is Mizuki.
To be fair, Brendan has no business being here, innit? This is a very established, this feels like a very illustrious, very cool event for boxing, but I don't think it has anything to do with Brendan. It's actually a really good little gig for him, I'm not going to lie. He has no business being there in terms of boxing credentials, in terms of boxing analysis, in terms of anything really. He has no business being there whatsoever. He wasn't really known as a good boxer anyway when he's in the UFC days. I don't believe he was a legit Golden Gloves champion either. So it's actually a really good booking for him, and to be honest, actually a really fucking good booking for Brendan that he was actually there.
I'm the winner of the Fighter of the Year. It's Terrence Crawford.
No pictures of Brendan. Shit. No clips of Brendan in that highlight reel there. But let's see what he has to say. Let's hear Brendan's version of events.
This was a wild one. So on Thursday, I got contacted by Turkey Al-Sheikh's team because they have the Ring Boxing Award ceremony Friday in New York. And then
Turkey Al-Sheikh's team, really? Was it Turkey Al-Sheikh's team, really?
On Saturday, it was Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. So his team called and said, hey, they had somebody, I guess, lined up to do like a roast, kind of like a roast opinion-based thing. And Max Kellerman's the host. And I guess he fell out. Something happened there. And they go, we're all big fans of yours. We'd love for you to come in.
Of course they're big fans. Of course they're big fans.
And do you think you put something together? And I'm like, maybe. And so they send me a list of everybody who's there. They highlight some people they think would be good to go after. And so I'm like, all right, pressure's on.
Weird choice, isn't it? Because Brendan's not really known as a roast guy either, right? He's not really got good roast. Like, he's not known as a roast guy whatsoever. You know, if they would have booked him on the basis of like, hey, you're a fighter that used to be a comedian, or you're a fighter that's a comedian, that'd make more sense, right? You're not really in our boxing world, but you're the closest person that we've got to like being within the fight kind of like scene industry, combat sports, but also you got comedic chops. That would make more sense. Go on stage, lighten the mood a little bit, blah 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 blah. But in terms of roasting, I don't think anyone thinks of Brendan as a roast master. You know, doesn't really have the chops to do that sort of thing, unless they maybe saw his back and forth with Nate Diaz and stuff and thought, hey, this guy will be good. I don't know.
And so they fly my manager Lex out, me, wifey, and I'm stressing because the list of names they gave me are people, you know, I idolize. And I'm not Tony Hinchcliffe, so I'm not a roaster by nature.
You can say that. That's the understatement of the year. I'm not Tony Hinchcliffe. You're also not that funny, mate. I'm not Tony Hinchcliffe. You should forget worrying about being. Again, he does all the time these comparisons. Forget about being Tony Hinchcliffe. Again, he's not the super funniest guy in the world, but he's still infinitely more funny than Brendan. Your worry should be, how can I be funny? Because he's not been doing stand up for like what, 2 years now, right? Brendan's not been stand up for like 2 years, I think, or maybe more. Maybe it's been like 3 years. So he's not had the rhythm of being a stand up for like 3 years. If I was him, I'd be more worried about, am I going to be funny? Because I've not been practicing for like 3 years, as opposed to, I'm not Tony Hinchcliffe. That's a weird thing to kind of be worrying about, to be fair.
Nature, I can do my thing, but so I said, here's the thing: on a 2-day notice, like when you see even Tony, or when you see Nikki Glazer, I mean the best of the best roasting.
Of course, look at the comparisons, brother. Why not just be concerned about being funny? Why are you comparing yourself to like quote unquote best of the best? Nikki Glazer, Tony Hinchcliffe. Fucking hell, mate. You're not being decided for free. Just try. If I was him, my main worry would be, I just want people to understand what I'm saying, right? I don't want to fumble my words, and I want to make sure that I'm funny. That's it.
They have a whole team, man, and they're week of preparations. They have writers, like a whole team, man. So I said, listen,
so his excuse for not being funny is that he doesn't have a team and he doesn't have writers. Okay, when really I think most roast masters or roast comedians kind of have a lot of pride in terms of writing most of them. Yo, big up Gitsy.
Tony is not funny at all. Brendan is less funny than that. If you've ever wanted to know the concept of zero or absolutely nothing, it's Baba on stage.
Exactly. But isn't it funny that Brendan looks at Tony Hinchcliffe as like really funny? Like Brendan considers him like this, like he's the barometer. He's not funny with all we live in. Tony is not. We all know Tony's not funny, but to Brendan, he's the kind of barometer. He's the standard. Wild. Big up Gitsy.
Look at how this works. And they wanted me to do like 10, 15 minutes. I said, no one's going to do 15 minutes of straight up roasting. Like, I'm just going to go through and zing everybody in the crowd. And they said, no, we know that. We want like your hot take on boxing and the state of boxing. And then if you can fit in some of the roasts or some of the, kind of zingers at them, do that. I said, all right, I like that. Because I'm definitely opinionated, especially when it comes to certain things. I said, I'm down for that. You're
also redacted. Definitely opinionated. You're also very redacted. Being opinionated and being redacted are two different things.
That. And so my anxiety was so high, though. It was so high. Because you're talking on the list, it was Usyk, Canelo, Terrence Crawford, Eddie Hearn, Steve Reno, who, if you're in the box space, you guys know him. Big names, dude. Big, people I look up to. Turki Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, he was down to get roasted. Frank Warren, Tyson Fury. I should have brought the list for you guys. The boxing royalty. And here's the thing, dude.
The box of royalty, the box of royalty is fucking crazy.
I'm like, all right. So we're like going through a walkthrough. And it's in this room. It's not that big. Maybe 100 people, 120 of just the movers and shakers in boxing, dude. And so there's like round tables, and then there's one long table. And at that long table is Turki Al-Sheikh's here, and then it's Usyk, Canelo, Terrence Crawford, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Fury's team, like all the big boys, man. And they're just, it's like the fucking Avengers of boxing.
You have to kind of respect Brendan's inability to fear any type of imposter syndrome, innit? To fear any type of shame, any type of embarrassment, any type of just any type of self-doubt. A lot of people, there's people funnier than Brendan. There's people way funnier than Brendan that would never have taken this gig with a day's notice. And he did it. A day's notice, intimate setting. It didn't seem like it was an open to the public event. It was so that all the people in the industry, you haven't been doing stand-up. He's quit stand-up. Like, he's not been doing stand-up for like 3 years. hasn't got his timing down. He's never been looked at as a funny guy anyway. But you're 3 years without doing stand up. You're having to get back on that fucking whole thing. Just saying yes and doing it anyway is kind of insane. It's kind of insane, really. But it goes to show you why, in some respects, although most of his career and success you can attribute to the friendship with Brendan, right? Sorry, the friendship with Rogan, and obviously Callum being his quote-unquote mentor. A lot of his success, I think, is for the fact that he doesn't somehow feel imposter syndrome. He never has any level of, even though he should feel it more than anybody, he's never scared, really, you know? He just takes these jobs that he has no business taking and just fuck it, wings it, and then comes back and tells us that he did the best job ever, you know? Really impressive. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of impressive.
Boxing is at this table right in front of me, and that's who they want me going after. I'm like, oh boy. So my anxiety was so high, man. I'll be completely frank with you guys. It was just because
you're not funny. You mean you started for 3 years?
Like, you want to do really well. It's like such a big opportunity for me, and you want to do well.
Is it though? Is it a big opportunity we not do stand up? I'm not sure if it is. I feel like he's gone out of his way. Maybe I'm mistaken here. I feel like Brendan's gone out of his way in the last few years to distance himself from stand up. He doesn't do stand up. The last time he's done anything involving stand up was when he did that show, innit, Story Wars, and he sat down on a panel at the Comedy Mothership. But I think he's gone out of his way not to be in front of a microphone standing on stage in that sort of capacity. He doesn't want anyone to think of him as a stand-up. He's removed any mention of stand-up in his fucking bio on his Instagram. He doesn't post old stand-up clips, you know? He's very much divorced himself from anything involving being on stage roasting people, you know, or being on stage telling jokes. So was it a big opportunity? I don't know. If you're trying to frame yourself as a truck guy, as the car guy, as the garage guy, car giveaway guy, podcast opinionated person, is it really a big opportunity, or could it harm your reputation?
Oh, you want to do well, but I also...
Or remind people about how unfunny you are.
Don't want to piss them off either. Like, there was some stuff I wrote when I ran past, I'm like, is this too hard in the paint? Like some deep dive, like personal stuff on Eddie Hearn and the rest of the guys. And, you know, it's ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Some of the stuff was ridiculous, you know? And I ran it by him. And that's what's crazy about Turkey Al Sheikh is, you got to remember, he's not that old and has a crazy sense of humor. Even though he's, you know, basically royalty, crazy sense of, he was like, dude, go even more. I'm like, really? Like,
I didn't know that at all.
Me neither. Awesome. Like, just a guy's like a normal freaking dude, you know, just like a normal dude, man.
But why wouldn't you think he was a normal dude? I don't understand that. Why would you think anything else? And everything I've seen about Turkey Al Sheikh is like, seems like a bit of a lad, isn't it? Like, why would you think anything different? And also, did he really have personal communication with him? Was he going over your set list, or were you talking to some of his handlers or his representatives? Who knows? Who cares?
I was so nervous. And so the way it went down, I've done corporate gigs before, right? It's not the best setting for this type of thing. Even though this wasn't like a stand-up gig, it kind of is like, oh, we want a hot take on this, on the current climate of boxing and this, and Zuffa and Eddie Hearn's here, right?
I'd love to know the person that flaked last minute. I'd love to know who dropped out last minute.
And then throwing some zingers, right? So it's not your typical like corporate gig, but it also kind of is. But it's also not these. I've done corporate gigs before. The settings it's not set up for success. If you listen to any of the like big time comics that do these corporate gigs, they're like an afterthought. The acoustics isn't great. You know, the people are there not to see stand up or so I knew it was going to be a little awkward. So Max Kellerman's the host. And I started with roasting him. I was like, all right, he's going to be there. He'll be on stage. And me and Max, we don't have a lot of communication. We didn't get into it. We just had different opinions on Mayweather and Floyd. I bet him $100,000. And
whenever he says something like that, they go into it, innit? We didn't get into it, so you got into it. So most likely, I'm not going to go back into archives. Most likely, Brendan did say something snarky about Max Kellerman, I'm assuming. over the years, and then he saw him in real life, and it was all laugh and giggles, right? It was all fucking smiles and let's take a picture type of shit. And because Max Kellerman's huge, he's really rich, he's famous, he's well regarded, Brendan probably, you know, did what he always does and backpedals, most likely.
We kind of went back and forth. I'm a huge fan of Max Kellerman, and obviously he's gonna like.
That means nothing, by the way. That means nothing. When Brendan says he's a huge fan of you, that means nothing.
A lot of heat for saying Zuffa boxing. You know, he's been waiting his entire life for something like this in boxing, with Dana White getting involved. He's taking a lot of heat for it. And so he does the awards, and they're presenting Fight of the Year, Fight of the Year, Fighter of the Year, Female Fighter of the Year, Round of the Year. It's just the who's getting up. And then I'm looking at the clock. I'm not touching my food. My anxiety's through the roof. And I've gone over my routine like 10 times in front of my wife in the room. I posted a video. My shirt didn't fit. So my mother-in-law, right, she got my stuff dry cleaned. She's like, mijo, try it on. I'm like, not a fit. And my arms have gotten bigger, right? I'm in shape. And it was shorter, and I couldn't bend my arms. So I just cut the sleeves off. So I look like a Chippendale. So I was dealing with that. And so they're like, Schaub, you ready now? I'm like, yeah. They're like, we're gonna mic you up, take you in the back. I'm like, okay. And I'm like looking in the room, and remember, I'm the last one to go on. So the room's already a little bit like, all right, man, and everyone wants to talk and see each other, right? And I'm like, here we go. This is what you signed up for, Bubba.
Yeah, pretty terrible way to do the show, though, to be fair, innit? Why would you put him on last? Surely you'd put him on at the beginning or in between, like, you know? Or like, you know what I mean? You'd kind of do a break in between, to do some, you know, announce some awards, give away some whatever, and then have him on in the middle, and then have, you know what I mean? Why would you put the roast comedian guy at the end?
So I go in the back, and Max Kellerman's there. And you have some assumptions about people in the space, right? People have assumptions about me that they've never met me, right? And whether they think I'm an asshole, whatever it is, whatever your assumption is, but we've never met. You're going to base your opinion on people, maybe off Instagram or what maybe some other people said, right? Or things you've seen on their show.
Backpedal Brendan Schaub in it. Backpedal. So he said all this shit about Max Kellerman on his show. You saw him in real time and probably tucked tail. Of course he did.
Or media. I get all that. I'm just as guilty as that. So with Max, like, he probably doesn't like me. I bet he thinks I was talking shit during the Floyd Mayweather stuff. I get back there, and he's awesome. He was so cool, man. Just as smart as you think he is. And he was just like, buddy. As soon as I get in the back, he gives me a big hug. He goes, buddy, good luck, man. He's like, good luck, dude. He's like, they're so ready to get out of here. And I'm like, yeah, have they gone over? He's like,
look at all the excuses that he's been given. Look at all the excuses. Like, was it funny or was it good or not? There's so many excuses here so far. Like, Bladder, was it funny or not? Did you enjoy the set? Did you have a good time? Were people laughing? Just hurry up with this story. All these excuses, my shirt didn't fit, the time, the this, my anxiety, I couldn't eat. Like, so many fucking excuses. Was the show good or not? Did you have a good time? Were you reinvigorated about stand-up? Did it make you want to get back on stage again and start writing jokes and give us Gringo Papi Dos? Like, what is it? What is all this stuff? I don't know. What is all this?
Kind of. He's like, but you and I can ad-lib this thing. We can freestyle. How do you think I should do it? I'm like, wait, so hold on. You're going to say, all right, good night, everybody. The lights go down, and then they're going to stand up and start moseying around talking, because like cocktail hour after that. And then you go, all right, hold on, everybody. And then you turn the lights back on, and then you bring me out. He's like, yeah, that's what they're telling me to do. I'm like, oh, my dude, nobody's going to be paying attention. He's like, yeah, dude, you can literally do whatever you want up there, man. We and him were laughing the whole time, man. He's like, good luck. And I told him, I said, hey, Matt, I start off the top of this whole thing like roasting you. He's like, I don't give a shit, man. I know how it goes, dude. So I did this whole thing on him, and I defended him on Zuffa boxing. So their whole thing was like, we know you don't want to piss anybody off. We know you don't want to ruffle any feathers, but the reason you're here is we want you, because you don't hold back. We want your honest take on boxing and Zuffa and the lay of the land. I said, all right. So I got Jake Paul in there. I got Zuffa.
I like how he's trying to build himself as this unfiltered, ready to give you what he thinks type of guy, when that's not the truth at all. If Dana welcomes him back into his good books, if Dana suddenly became Brendan's friend again, he'd be sucking off Dana and talking his praises until the moon come back. If the UFC welcome back into this fold, he was saying the same thing there. He's only saying some of the things that he's saying because he's sort of like on the outside and he's trying to garner views, clicks, engagement and shit. But this kind of trying to sell yourself as like, oh, I'm the truth speaker, I say everything that I want. It's like, brother, let's be for real. We know what you're like. If you had relationships with some of these people, you'd be completely different. You don't have a relationship with some people, so you're letting it loose a little bit more. But some of these opinions are also pretty much nonsensical and just, you know what I mean, whatever, not really the most informed ones in the world. So if I was him, don't try to sell yourself as because the controversial thing doesn't work with him either, because when you fire back, he gets it kind of hurts him personally, you know. He's very sensitive. So being trying to build yourself as a controversial guy, as a guy who's willing to say whatever's on your mind and doesn't care about this or that, is one thing. But then when you're sensitive as Brendan is and thin-skinned as he is, it's a bit weird, and it's like, you can say what you want, but I can't say what I want to you. Interesting.
Box in there, Dana, Eddie Hearn losing fighters. I asked Frank Warren if they didn't have Ozempic in UK because Fury's looking so thick all the time. And it's just like, it was so fun. Everyone was cool. I defend Max Kellerman, and it was awesome. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. I wasn't planning to stay for the fights. I want to get back and watch the UFC. And so I meet His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh. And he's like, man, so glad you're here. Thank you so much for doing this on short notice. We can't thank you enough. I'm so glad you're coming to fights tomorrow. And I was like, yeah. And then his team was like, well, you have to go now. Like, dude, he invited you to the fights. Like, I'm like, it'd be disrespectful if I didn't. I'm like, kind of, we'll change your flights. All right, kids, let's take a little break here. Then we get right back.
If that's true, that's pretty good, to be fair. If that's true, that's a pretty fucking cool that he got invited to the fight straight after. That's pretty decent. Let's go continue the story.
For CBS, Showtime, Comedy Central, HBO, I mean, the big boys, NBC, Universal, Fox Sports, ESPN. I've worked for everybody, dude. I've done big fights.
You work for HBO? When you work for HBO? But to be fair, it does go. I don't believe all this stuff, but if it is true, he's worked for all of these broadcast companies and public whatever. For him to be in the place that he is at now, that's pretty embarrassing, though, isn't it? To have had all of those opportunities given to him on a silver platter, to have all of those chances, and to now be doing everything by himself on YouTube, having no kind of partnerships, no deals with any networks, with any platforms whatsoever. That's pretty horrible. You know, to be fair, given all of the opportunities he's had over the years, all the streaming platforms he's worked with, all the production companies, all the networks, and all he has is a YouTube show to show for it. Different YouTube channels. Not the greatest endorsement of, like, not the greatest sort of, like, you know, example to put out there, really, to be honest. Because it kind of goes to show that they give him, he kind of gets one deal because of his name, because of reputation, because of his, you know, who he's associated with, Rogan, whatever. But then as soon as he does the job, people soon realize that he's not that great and don't never sign him back again. Because I don't think Brendan's been re-signed by anyone, has he? Showtime, he never got a new deal. No, sorry, I'll take that back. I think he got one new contract with Showtime. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he signed one new deal with Showtime, but he didn't get the third extension sort of thing. I think so, I think so. But yeah, it's not good. It's not a good thing that you work with all these big people and they never re-signed you.
Floyd, Connor, Floyd. I've worked big events where, you know, it's the who's who is there. No one took better care of me than Turki Al-Sheikh and his team.
Oh my god!
Ever?
Oh, the glazing. Here we go. Riyadh Comedy Festival, here we come, mate. Riyadh Comedy Festival, here we come. He definitely wants to go to the Middle East. He's going to be there in the Middle East with his hands in the fucking sand. You know he's going to be. He's going to be dressed in he's going to wear that full fucking garb, right, that they wear. He's going to have a head wrap on. You know it's coming. He's going to be sat on a camel somewhere in the desert. Brendan in the Middle East is coming very, very soon. Jesus Christ, the glazing.
With any business I've ever worked for, ever. I'm talking stuff I didn't even think about. I'd be like, boom, done. I didn't have to say anything. The hotel was insane, especially in New York. And I go to put down my credit card in the hotel. Just, they flew me out there, paid me a fee, right? Just with short notice, paid me a handsome fee, which by no means are they getting their money back. They sure as hell didn't make that money back on any sales or views. And
again, another great thing about getting your foot in the door. That's why I always say, as soon as people on the Reddit, on the TFATK Reddit and shit, are kind of like secretly hoping that Brendan loses everything. You don't really lose everything when you're someone like a Brendan. When you started as early as he did, when your introduction to the industry was with Rogan, was with Brian Callen and shit, established names, you've got all these cosigns. It's very hard for you to lose everything. You have to be a real dummy. Brendan's done a good job. He's done a good job of losing a lot of opportunities and fucking over himself and shooting himself in the foot with certain things. But as long as you have got in early enough at that point and you've got these industry cosigns, you're basically set. You're basically set, because really and truly, he has no right getting that job. He has no real connection with boxing, really. He's not that well of established name in boxing to take that role. But when you look at it on paper, when a person drops out last minute and you got to get somebody who's a fighter but could also do presenting sort of comedy thing on stage, maybe the first person you would think of would be Brendan, despite him not being funny. You would probably think of someone like a Brendan, despite him being on the downward trajectory of his career. You would think of someone like him. So it kind of goes to show you, once you get your foot in the door, you're kind of set for life, no matter how good or bad you are at that point. At the present point, you're going to get given opportunities based on some of your, previous work or some of your previous associations and blah, 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 blah. So if anybody's out here still hoping and praying that this guy loses everything, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Never. It's actually never happening. Let me just say that it's never happening.
And at the hotel, like, I go to put my credit card down, like, His Excellency took care of everything. We don't need your credit card, whatever. And I go, okay. And they go, also, the hotel I was at, the Mark, the restaurant connect to is a Michelin star hotel. And they go, he's taking care of everything. You don't need to go anywhere. Like, you have your own car, meaning I have my own driver 24/7.
That's
wow.
Pretty cool.
You have a driver 24. I didn't ask for any of this. You have your own driver.
That's that Middle East money, innit? That's that real Middle East money, bro. So imagine that was probably given to every single person at the show, right? I'm assuming. No, not every single. Maybe people working on the show. That budget must have been crazy, man. A driver for every person that went, or for every person that was working on the show. Fucking hell.
Food wise, order as much food as you want 24/7 from that restaurant. They're on call for you. It was wild, dude.
Sick.
Wild. Absolutely insane. And so we go to the fights the next night and they give us our tickets. I've never been in.
Big up Patagonia saying, don't crush my dreams. Big up Stinger Goose saying we can still hope. It's not happening, brothers. That's why sometimes it's good just to point and laugh, because if you're secretly wishing for so many people to lose it doesn't happen. He's been famous, or he's been around for. He started off like, it's similar with TFATK podcast. TFATK podcast is you're never gonna see a post with them saying, "Hey guys, we're having to shut TFATK down because it's not making enough money." They are basically, what's that thing called? What's that term they use? They're grandfathered in. TFATK is grandfathered in. Look at even Joe Rogan. Rogan podcast is probably the worst it's ever been in the history of Rogan, but it's still super popular because it's the only one. It's been around for so long. People listen to it just based off habit now, just based off habit. They just listen to it. They don't even probably like it anymore. They just listen to it based out of habit, because you're going to get a minimum 2 hour 45 minute show. You're generally going to get at least 5 guests you're going to want to listen to throughout the year. You know what I mean? You're kind of set. So Brendan's set for life, as long as he doesn't go out of his way to fuck up anything now. Going forward, he'll be fine. He'll never have to work a regular job in his entire life. And even if it does get that bad, he still has Rogan to borrow money off of, or whatever else it may be. He'll be fine. But the idea that he'll lose everything, have to sell his house and get a regular 9 to 5, that is never happening. No matter how bad he is at what he does, he's been around for so long and started in this thing so early that he gets given opportunities, even if he doesn't really quote unquote deserve them. I don't know, even the term deserving an opportunity is a bit of a misnomer, because who deserves anything really in life? But yeah, he's never going to lose, really, if you think about it. He kind of has in a way, but not really, if you think about it.
I worked Madison Square Garden. I'm sorry, I have been. I worked Madison Square Garden when Fedor and Mitrione fought. So I've been there. Again, I've I worked the Floyd Logan fight. I was working, so that doesn't count. But then Connor Floyd, right? Worked that, and Showtime gave me a ticket. They gave me a ticket kind of in the nosebleeds. Whatever, all good. So me and my wife get our tickets, and Lex, we get our tickets. They take us through like where the New York Knicks go through, and they're walking us up, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I'm looking at the seats, and it says Joanna Schaub, Brendan Schaub, Bernard Hopkins, and next to that with Carl Anthony Thompson, Big Cat from the New York Knicks. It was insane, dude. And then to the right of me is Usyk, Triple G. It was so insane, dude. It was so insane. And I was thinking about, I sent a picture to Brian and Rogan. I thought about both of them because I love Bernard Hopkins. Brian loves Bernard Hopkins. So does Rogan. The amount of money Brian or Rogan would pay to watch a fight next to Bernard Hopkins, dude. Bernard Hopkins, the knowledge this dude has, he's a fucking library, dude. And the coaching, he doesn't stop talking, by the way, which I didn't want him to. The coaching and the knowledge he
doesn't sound like it, does it? It doesn't really sound like it.
Was dropping, which he was done if I was there. I didn't ask him to do it. To Shakur Stevenson, to the other fighters, to Shushu, to Big Baby Miller, like the knowledge he was dropping them, dude. I was like, God, I wish Brian could have taken my seat. He would flip out right now. This is Brian's cup of tea, dude. He would have flipped out, man. Flipped out. It was such a special time. It was so cool, man. It was so freaking cool. So cool. Had such a good time. The only downside was it was hard to watch the UFC fights.
Of course you complain.
It was hard to watch the UFC fights there. I saw some of it, saw the results. Then I watched it Sunday morning, watched it again this morning. So let's get it. But by the way, Shakur Stevenson, in person, I've always been a fan of him. Teofimo Lopez, I've had on Food Truck Diaries. I know him and his dad pretty well. To watch Shakur Stevenson in person.
Anyway, you get the gist. You get the gist. That was Brendan at the Showtime. At the Ring magazine event, which again I think is a really cool endorsement for him, despite him not being somebody that you would think would be associated with boxing whatsoever. I think apart from the blazer and the obviously ill-fitting shirt and the tie, I think generally when he unbuttoned the blazer, he looked fairly decent. I thought the wife looked really great as well in her outfit. I just would not taken the bag, but again, you want those status symbols, so I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. But all in all, a good look for him, despite him not really being a comedian or presenting any awards and doing it right at the end. You kind of gotta sell it how you gotta sell it. So big up him for that one.